Hi everyone, welcome to a in transit episode of RBTV. I'm with Tyler.
Alan.
We're going to see Joe Rogan in London, and we've got a 4-hour car journey and we need to kill some time. So currently going 40 miles an hour on the A1, M1 on a road, because it's saying there's roadworks, but there's just a load of cones by the side of the road that aren't actually doing anything.
Yeah, there'll probably be a bunch of roadworks in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
We get all that on the way back.
So yeah, if there's like a horrific noise and a crash, hopefully this isn't the last thing that we ever record, because Tyler's going to pay attention to the road.
Yeah, but it's good that the GoPro doesn't have like a little screen on it, so I'll not be fucking looking at it all the time. Being be sound.
So, Tyler, what's your favourite thing about Jiu Jitsu?
See, right, when you were doing all those videos,
Yeah.
Pi said mine, and I was like, oh, he's got more right to say it than I, but
it was a good one.
like that noise.
Tell the masses, yeah.
Yeah, it was his he taught me how to do it anyway. Like, I was trying to bow and arrow people before then. Well, then he gave me like a little 10-minute seminar at the end of class. And ever since then, I've been able to get that gi stretching. It's just fucking...
The noise and the fabric makes.
But, when it what I really like is when it works. Like...
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's like, it'd be like, oh, you'll learn something, or you'll see something online. But then when you actually like put it into practice, you're like, fuck me, that random lapel choke that someone did on Instagram actually works.
Yeah.
That's class.
They rarely work as well.
Yeah, I know.
Random things you see on the internet.
But yeah, no. It's an odd one, I date all of it.
Yeah.
It's just class, innit?
There's a lot of good bits. What's your least favourite thing about Jiu Jitsu?
Small digit injuries.
Yeah.
Like the amount, like I thought I lifted weights for a while, and like I've managed to be uninjured through all of that, short of like being a Doyle and dropping like plates on my toes and stuff.
Yeah.
But the amount of like little niggles, I get that annoys me.
Yeah.
But it's all part, like I'm getting crushed by people for fun, so it's gonna happen, innit?
Yeah. My fingers, like, you see that? Like, I don't know what that is for the camera. Like, I've got a lump
Yeah,
there.
so I've got that one there. Like my ring fingers wonky.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Just jiu-jitsu fingers. I think I dislocated my knuckle about 2 weeks after we got married, and I couldn't fit my wedding ring on. So I was like, it's either gonna go down and I'll be able to fit it on again, or I'm gonna have to go and buy another wedding ring. In the end, it took about 6 months, but it went down. But I was just like not committed to buying a new wedding ring. I still struggle to get it on and off, just because like where my wedding rings sits is
You've
like,
got to get it through
thin,
like the thick
it's just
bit.
getting it past the actual chunky knuckle. So yeah, I feel it. I looked at my feet the other day actually, and I was like, they look like grapplers' feet. Like they look like they've done some wrestling.
Yeah,
so.
You've kind of got to hope that like you re-break it again and it puts it back to normal.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty rubbish.
Like I've tried to avoid being that guy as well who like has to tape everything up before class, because it just seems like a chew, and I'm not far enough into it all yet to need that. I'm like I have not been grappling long enough to need to hold my hands together by tape. But it would appear I have.
I go through phases where I'm like, I need to tape all my hands and fucking toes up and that, and then sometimes at the minute I can't get a class on time, so like I'm just like, I'm here and I'm not taping anything up, and if I seriously hurt something, then I'll tape it up. But tape it up should be preventative, not reactive.
Yeah. Or every now and then you'll be doing 2 in 2 out trying to tape it up.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
Like, when that just doesn't work. Yeah. I think with me a lot of it is like if I get an injury, like when I broke if I break a toe, I'll tape it, but it's like making the leap of not taping it for the first time after you've had it taped for like 6 months. Like I used to get stick. I got like so much fucking piss ripped out of me because I broke one big toe and must have put like a roll of tape on it every night before training. So I was just I'm not stubbing that at all. And then it was definitely fine after about a day.
Isn't it funny how like your attitude towards injuries completely shifts. Where like you just said there, like,
What?
when I break a toe, like it's just something that happens. Whereas like before jiu-jitsu, if you broke a toe, it's a big deal.
Oh yeah, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm not doing anything. Like I'm not going to work. I can't. I've got a broken toe. I'm taking time off work.
Now you go to jiu-jitsu with a broken toe because you don't want to miss out on a class.
Yeah. Well, it's like when I fucking tore a ligament in my shoulder. Like if I wasn't doing jiu-jitsu, I would have literally like I'd have been like, oh, I'm injured. I can't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was like, as soon as I didn't feel like I needed to ice it, I was like, right, I'm doing everything again now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like your necessity is just deal with hurt.
Yeah.
Like you get your head around the fact that you're always going to be in pain from something, so just you might as well train while in pain rather than waiting until you're not in pain, because you might be waiting fucking ages.
The other week, I was at a road with Jamie, and I think Tom had that horrible cold as well. I was like run down for like 2 days, and everything in my body was like inflamed, and it like all of my injuries all kicked in. Anything I've ever injured all started hurting at exactly the same time, and I was like, I thought these had all healed themselves, like stuff from years ago. So like my knee, both elbows, my neck, my shoulders, there's a certain bit of my lower back, like it all just hurt at the same time, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm not cured, maybe I've just worked through it all. But that was a horrible 2 days. I was like limping at work, and everyone was like, you all right? And I was like, did you get injured at jiu-jitsu? And I was like, no, like I think I'm run down, so my body's in flames because that's its like natural response. Yeah. And I was like, maybe this is what it's like to be like 70,
just
like,
constantly in agony.
Yeah, just in pain from injuries that you did when you were rolling about in your 20s, I guess.
So I don't think I don't think you stop being in pain. I think you just forget that you're in pain, like from a lot of it, because like now I'm like having to train with like an ankle all taped up. Like it definitely in agony warming up and drilling, but as soon as we start rolling, like I forget, and then within like 10 minutes of like I'll sit on the couch for 10 minutes when I get back, and then get up to get a drink, and it will feel like someone's like stabbed it, and I'm just like, all right, so like I'm more worried. Like the thought of getting choked has made me forget about the fact that my ankle's in tatters.
So like when my knee was hurting at that point, so I fucked up my knee. I think it's like the MCL. It might have just been like a partial tear, nothing like completely debilitated, but I fucked it up for a bit, and then that kicks back in, and then I rolled with Tom actually. No gi, I can't remember, but I got to a point where I was like, I'm just going training, even though I'm in pain, like 2 weeks ago or whatever, and I was like, let's just see what happens. And my leg moved, and I felt like a twang, and then my knee just stopped hurting, and I was like, oh, was something just in the wrong place, and it just needed to like click back, you know what I mean? But I was like, oh, my knee after doing jiu-jitsu now feels better than it has done for weeks of not doing jiu-jitsu, so I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, Carl did something like that when he was in, what was it? Was it Nagar he did in Amsterdam not that long ago in September or something?
Yeah.
And like he did something to his foot, and he was in training like the day he got back from Amsterdam or whatever, and it looked horrendous. It was like someone had like just fucking super glued a plum to the top of his foot. That's the only way to describe it. And he just got frustrated and yanked his foot, and it was fine. Like I think he must have like dislocated like a metatarsal or whatever it is, and it's just like as soon as he popped it back into place, he was just sound.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. But that poor bastard, like his fucking knees cracking like a shotgun every 20 minutes anyway, isn't it? Brutal.
Carl needs surgery.
And
I don't know how to break into it, but like
I think he's already had surgery on it like twice though, hasn't he? So
I don't know. I just thought like, and I should apply this to myself, but like if I want to like do jiu-jitsu till I'm 70, and you need to take time out now. Like if you need surgeries, you should get them done now, so your body can recover, and then you can take a year out now and be all right when you come back. You know what I mean? But it might cripple you when you're 60 and not when you're 70 if you just kind of continue training with it. I just think about longevity, but I get it. Carl's on a tear. He's doing loads of sub-only stuff. It's what he lives for, so he probably doesn't want to take however long it takes to fix his knee off. You know, it might be a year year to fully recover if it's like a fully torn ACL or something.
Yeah, and like knee surgery, it's not just going to stop your training either. Like you can't walk. Like getting knee surgery, like you're going to have help to the toilet and stuff. It's like one of those ones where like it's going to be like, even if you don't train, it's going to suck.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Either way, isn't it? So it's like you don't really want.
Yeah.
If you can get away with not having it done, you're going to, aren't you?
Yeah.
But no. Touch wood, I'm not going to need any of them. I was worried about my ankle because everything on the internet was saying it was like, I did that like stupid thing where you Google your symptoms, and it was like, oh, you're either going to need to get surgery to get an impingement fixed, or you've got like lymphoma.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know.
Either going to die.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But no, I think that it's not the surgery itself for me. It'd be like the thought of not being able to train is like the killer. But
yeah,
like everybody's going to have to take time. Not even just jiu-jitsu, like just the thought of not being able to move is like horrifying.
But like we were saying earlier, like especially early on when you've not been training long, the thought of having to take a big chunk of time off is a bit more daunting than if you've perhaps got a couple of coloured belts under you. You know, like Dan Lewis, for example, has just had his second child, but Dan's a brown belt. He's certainly not going to quit jiu-jitsu, but he can take a chunk of time off and come back and still have plenty of his jiu-jitsu game there. You know what I mean? And I'm sure, and then he won't be far off his black belt really, and then he'll, you know what I mean? Once you're there, aren't you? So.
Well, you're doing it forever, aren't you? So like with a fucking year out in like a 40-year.
Yeah.
It's like nothing, is it? Like. I think if you think you only got to think of like the amount of people that sacked off any type of exercise for 2 years because of COVID, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is an odd one.
When did you start? Did you start during COVID?
I started training the January before COVID. Fell in love with it.
Was that in Cambridge?
Yeah. So when I was in Cambridge, I was training at Brazilian top team.
Yeah. Down
there, and it was decent, but like it was like the coach is Brazilian.
Yeah.
So. Some of the stuff, like it was just like a beginner's class, and some of the stuff that it didn't really click in my head, but I'd already fucking drank the Kool-Aid, and then COVID happened, and I was fuming because COVID happened like on like the Monday or whatever.
Yeah.
Class was cancelled, and then the Tuesday night was going to be like the night that the beginners could start rolling properly.
I think I remember saying.
And I was just like, fuck. So then like I'd been watching it long before I'd started training, because I was even talking to you about training for ages, but then I just never fucking got around to doing it. And then when I moved back up, I just came with you, didn't I? With like a couple of open mats and that, and then did that one gi class where Jamie decided that it was going to be an hour and a half of full rolls, and I'd forgotten how to do guard. And I think Dean gave me like 2 black eyes in 5 minutes because I just didn't know what a frame was. I just got the shit kicked out of me for 90 minutes. And like it genuinely, like in jiu-jitsu you get paggered anyway, but that was just me getting the shit kicked out of me because I didn't know how to defend anything.
Funny that, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, like I got walloped because I think Dan was in as well that first night, and so like I did like half an hour of fucking close guard with Courtney. I was like I didn't know anybody at this point, so I was like, this is mad. Like she's like a 17-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Like, so I hadn't really got my head around that part of it yet. But then within 3 months of properly training, I was getting walloped by Poppy and fucking Chloe anyway. So
yeah. I think about people like my friends in situations like that, and I think like I wonder if at the time I might have thought I wonder if Tyler will come back. You know what I mean? Not a reflection on you or your character, but I just understand why people might not want to come back after like that. And I forget sometimes that like we've all been through the shit. I was telling someone like my first ever class was no gi at MFA, and it wasn't like there was no like beginners or anything at the time. No gi, and it was X guard, and I was like, I don't know what a guard is, but putting an X in front of it makes it sound even more complicated.
X guard's an odd one as well, because you're doing it and you're like if you didn't know it, you'd be like, this can't fucking work. Like this is mad. Like I'm just lying down. Like
it only works in transition as well. X guard, you can't sit there because people just pass it.
Yeah.
But aside from that, yeah, it's a complicated way to be, because one foot's one place, another, like it's kind of a leg entanglement really, but a very specific one. So I was just like, it was me and Luke McGuinney, and I was like, I'm glad you're here, because if I was with somebody that knew what they were doing, this would be all the more embarrassing. But equally, I go, well, I kept showing up. So like, I took someone. It's a girl who wanted to like try Jiu Jitsu. I think it was at MFA, or maybe at Akurai, and I just took it at one of the classes. And Jamie happened to be showing like straight footlocks for that entire class. So I was like, "You're not going to learn much." Like by the end of it, I was like, "You probably learned nothing." Especially when it came to rolling with people, you have like nothing. You don't know what a guard is or mount, or all you know about Jiu Jitsu is a straight footlock, like which. Is almost useless, you know what I mean? So, not like the footlocks are useless, just in terms of like, if there was one
you
thing
might
I'd teach
end
you
up there
on your first class, it's definitely not a straight footlock. So, she never came back, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. But I know people that would have still come back, you know what I mean? I guess, but you never know who those people are sometimes, I think, until.
Yeah, I think with me, like, I'd accepted, like, or even like if there was any part of me where I was like, that was shit. Because I was broken. Like, there's been few days, like few training sessions where I've woken up the next day and felt as shit as I did after that first one, where it was just 90 minutes of getting walloped. But I was just like, oh well, like if I get better, surely it's gonna hurt less.
Yeah.
But then I was just like, oh, little did I know, now smaller parts of my body are just gonna hurt a lot more.
Yeah.
Than like everything hurting, just having a dull ache constantly.
Oh yeah. We can creak on a morning now.
It's like when I get back from training, sit on the couch, and when I stand up, it sounds like someone's running down a fence with a stick.
Yeah.
It's like.
Well, like I hoovered the mats last night, and I was like, this isn't actually a bad cool down.
Cool down, yeah.
I was like, this works better than jumping in the shower, then sitting in the car for 10 minutes, then sitting on my couch for an hour. Which is what I do basically, and then I got to get up and I'm like, oh my god, I can't move, and I'm like, I wonder why. You just did like this super intense exercise and then just sat down. But there's a lot of like your spine's always compressed in a certain way in Jiu-Jitsu. Like,
it's terrible for your posture because you're always slouched over like a fucking gorilla just out of necessity. And
yeah. So you need like to start, or you know, everybody does really like it. I think if you're going to do Jiu-Jitsu seriously, this will probably scare people off, but like once you're 3-4 years in, I think you need to start lifting weights, you need to start stretching, so like a form of yoga basically, and lifting weights to strengthen obviously all your joints and all the tendons around them from lifting weights, but also you need to like undo sort of a lot of the damage that you get on your body from doing Jiu-Jitsu from stretching, I think.
Yeah, and it's a really easy way to like get mobile is mobile like under load.
Yeah.
Because like one thing that I've never really had any chew with, but it is a thing that like other people even in the gym have like mentioned is like they get chew with their hips.
Yeah.
Because of like all the guard playing and that, but I've not had that. And I think part of it is like there's probably other lads in the gym that have probably feel the same way, like Big Al or like Finley, like the lads that like squat.
Yeah.
Is like that you're used to having all that weight on your back in that compromised position, so it's not as bad when you're getting smashed under guard or whatever. But that might just be some like bro science. I haven't got a fucking clue. But
no, maybe. I mean, my hips hurt, but I haven't squatted for a couple of years, probably. It makes sense.
But it's kind of like getting stronger is never going to make anything worse.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Like it isn't a necessity, but it's not gonna make it like it's not worse for you, is it? It's always going to be better to be a little bit stronger or a little bit more.
So right, we were having this debate in the office the other day. What's the best of the big three origin horror movies? So Friday 13th, Halloween, or Nightmare on Elm Street. Or you can pick another one if you think it's better, like Scream or Hellraiser or something.
Of those three, I'd say Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I like Friday 13th, and I don't think you could put Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday 13th, in the same category as Halloween.
Right.
So Halloween's a lot more, like, I don't remember exactly, but there's not really much blood in it.
Halloween?
Yeah, it's all it's like the music, it's much more suspenseful than like slashery.
Yeah.
Even though it's like the slasher film, but it's...
Yeah.
It's a lot more psychological than the other two.
Yeah, it could be a bit more tense, yeah.
I think that one's the OG. But they kind of went a bit... They fucked it later on. Like, the first two were good.
Yeah.
And then it all kind of went a bit downhill.
Well, they all did. Like none of them have good sequels.
No.
Like, sorry, they have a couple of good sequels, but in terms of, like, you know, for each franchise, there's minimum 8 movies.
Yeah.
And, like, the last 6 aren't good in any of them. I watched the new Halloween the other day, and it's awful. And I was like, I don't know why I'm surprised, because all the other Halloween sequels are awful, so why would this one be any different? Like, I thought the reboot was really good. That was like 2 films ago. And then again, the one that came out last year was fucking awful.
The reboot, the one that's like...
Evil dies tonight.
It's like the true sequel. The reboot one.
Yeah, where he's been in the mental asylum and all that, and then people got to do the podcast and they're really united, and then they get murked, which is really satisfying. Do you need to concentrate? Do you know where we're going? Because I don't.
I know where we're going, sorry. I used to live around here, didn't I? But no, yeah, Halloween.
Yeah.
I think as well because John Carpenter's just got...
See, yeah. My only thing is that I've been listening to, so shout out 100 Horrors. Some friends of mine have a podcast called 100 Horrors, and they've been torturing John Carpenter on it recently. So I've just got this thing in my head that John Carpenter is not as good as... But he is, obviously, he's fucking awesome. You know what I mean? The Thing is, like, it's a masterpiece.
But it's even any...
The Halloween's amazing, to be fair.
Yeah.
Halloween 1 and 2, because 2's like a direct sequence. 2 literally starts the second.
Yeah, it's like straight after, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like a 4-hour long film, really, Halloween 1 and 2, isn't it? So, yeah. But also, Season of the Witch is a banger, but obviously it's... Is it Halloween movie? Well, have you seen Season of the Witch?
Only briefly, so here's the shocker. The amount of time I've devoted to my life to watching the medium of film, very little of it has been horror films.
Right. Well, yeah.
So, like, I know they're great, but I don't know why. Well, I know, like, I'm a proper fanny when it comes to, like stuff like The Conjuring and fucking Paranormal Activity. Like,
right,
I don't need that in my life.
Yeah.
But I'll sit and watch a slasher film all day long.
Yeah. There's something about slashers. I watched Bodies the other day, and it's alright, but I was like, it was quite nice to watch like a current slasher. So I was like, oh yeah, I haven't seen a slasher for a while. Like, there's something specifically about slashers that are quite...
It's obscene, isn't it? Like, they're classed as like a horror film, but they're not. They're somewhat like comedic with how over the top they are and that.
Yeah,
it's like no one's... Like that bit in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, like, spoiler alert, but the arm break, like the wrist lock arm break, that's never going to happen. So it's like gruesome, but you're also, it's like funny gruesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna watch all of the Texas Chainsaw Massacres this October and do a podcast about each of them, but I just fucking don't have time. Like, I watched number 2, which is like fantastic. It's like, it's fucking mental. It's a very different, it's like, it's listed as a comedy horror.
Yeah.
Like on IMDb, because it was directed by Toby Hooper, who made the first one, but like, it's good, it's just good for different reasons. But then after that, I get the impression that it really tanks off. They tried, like, there's like 5 different reboots of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and none of them worked. So that's why I was like, I want to like do a deep dive into this, but basically since Hazel was born, it's been very hard to do that. I think the last one I did fully, I watched all the Hellraisers about 2 years ago. That was intense. Last year I did slasher films, actually. I did Scream and...
I like a slasher film. I came to like a realisation the other day about them, and they're just like, it's just Agatha Christie.
Yeah, whodunits.
Like, it's just... Instead you take like Sidney Crosby and make it a Belgian guy with a tash, and it's just fucking Death on the Nile.
Yeah. Scream's good because it's self-aware and it takes the piss out of slashers. But it plays on those.
But it is just a whodunit, but like modern.
Yeah.
Or modern for fucking 1999 or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, they're decent. Why do you think like the Jason, the Freddy, the Myers, and like the Chainsaw sequels all got shit? So I have a theory as to why like the original ones are always really good, but then they get shitter the longer they go.
Well, we might have to go through them systematically, but so Halloween 1 and 2 are great. Same director. It's basically a direct story follow-on. Season of the Witch, number 3. So the original concept with Halloween was that they basically pick a Halloween story and they'll make a film out of it and they'll call it Halloween and release them every Halloween. The Season of the Witch doesn't have like Michael Myers.
Yeah.
It's just a completely different story. And it's fucking awesome. And then obviously Redditors and conspiracy theorists have basically turned the robots that are in Season of the Witch into their like story, saying that Michael Myers after that is now a robot that was built in this town. Just a really nice fan theory. But so then after that, so they tried to make Halloween 4 Michael Returns or whatever. You're trying to rescue something that people had already lost faith in. So the studio's probably lost faith in it. They're not going to put that much money behind it. The script's probably rushed. And after that, like Halloween really takes a dive. So Halloween was probably because of like lack of money. Friday the 13th, I think number 2's quite interesting because you actually get Jason. For if anybody, I'm not going to say spoiler alert because Friday the 13th is Jason's
been out forever.
Yeah. And it's not actually Jason. And then in number 2 it's Jason, and Jason really kind of takes on his own throughout that. But I think they just return less and less at the box office, so people put less and less money in them. And then, but this like interesting thing happens where people get obsessed by them, so they just like turn into B movies because idiots like me end up being able to get the rights to it because the films get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
Yeah.
So then they become like a parody of themselves. There's like a bit in one of the Friday the 13th, maybe like number 6 or number 8, where, because in the previous films, like if Jason like walks to a door, it just fucking explodes, or he like bursts through a door.
Yeah.
So like on like number 6, he literally like walks forwards and the door just explodes. You know what I mean? So they're just taking the piss out of like Halloween does it, where there's in Halloween 1 there's a bit where Michael Myers is like hid behind a bedsheet in the garden.
Yeah.
And then loads of other Halloween films play on that, where it's just like they'll be like, ooh, it's a bedsheet, is Michael behind it? The Nightmare on Elm Street, I think what happened with that is they took like Freddy turned into like a comedy character, and that just, you know, he does like a rap, you know, like it just turns into like, they took like what is initially like potentially there's like some weird like child rape stuff going on in there and like a horrific concept, and because of like the character was probably so like out there and terrifying that like people turned it into comedy instead, and somehow that but yeah, I think they also suffer from those films are like not once in a lifetime, but maybe once in a generation, or once in a, like the concepts are so good, but you can only do it once. You can only do one cracking Freddy movie. The idea's amazing, but then to just do Freddy 2, it's like, well, we know it. What's the big scare behind it? Or he gets you in your dreams. Well, he got you in your dreams in the last one. So I think they all suffer from that, from being so good initially that it just, and a lot of them are from timing as well. So Friday the 13th, like slashers come out of like the zeitgeist of the time, and so a lot of the times like slashers become slashers or classic films because they like sit really well in that moment of in time, and what was going on in the world at that time and people's horrors and fears. So then to try and recreate that 3 years later when you might have a different president, a certain war might be over or something like that. So that's a really long-winded answer.
Yeah, I think for me, I think part of it is it's they always start with like, it's like the studio's taking a risk on the first one.
Yeah.
So like it might have, say, much more of a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
Which kind of forces the filmmakers to think a lot more, because you've got to save your money. Yeah, and that's how you can make a guy in a William Shatner mask.
Yeah.
Like horrifically terrifying,
Yeah.
because the one thing you can control when you've got no money is lighting. And music.
Yeah.
And sort of things like that. It's why like Alien's so good.
Yeah.
Because it is like you got no money to make an alien. You got some bin bags and tubes, so don't show it, and that's what's more horrifying, because all you see is just people getting melted and sucked into the air vents and just getting like battered from nowhere. And it's that, like, I think earlier on when they've not got that money, they play on that fear of the unknown, which is more natural to people.
Yeah.
Versus like, because some people might just be like, I don't care what happens in my dreams, it's just my dreams, who gives a fuck? But like, everybody's scared of the thing under the bed.
Yeah. Lack of budget as well. You're right. Forces creativity, which is interesting. Interestingly, Alien, like, I think Alien 1, 2 and 3, they're all very different types of films.
Oh, completely.
They're all very good.
Yeah.
Alien 4's dog shit. I don't mind Covenant. I wasn't that keen on
Prometheus.
Yeah. I get it from like a Ridley Scott
world building, like, I've got unfinished business kind of.
Yeah. But like, I mean, Alien 1, amazing, like first ever sci-fi slasher. It's the first ever like mashing of genres. Class. Yeah, Alien 2 is again a different type of film, but it's interesting because you get to see lots of aliens, so you have like lots of monsters. It's like a true kind of monster film. And then obviously Alien 3, which is in a prison, which is just like a really interesting concept. I think they're all great, and the alien is still scary for them, but again, and even that suffers from it though, because Alien 4 comes around and it's garbage.
Yeah. So what do you think the best horror film is?
Ever?
Yeah. This can be purely opinion. Like all spectrums, like you can include slashers, you can include like...
Yeah. The best horror film I think I've ever seen, 28 Days Later.
Yeah, that's...
Or the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Is that Snyder one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll get slated for that, so 28 Days Later. Yeah.
Interesting.
Because thinking about, like, it stands on the shoulders of giants, but like zombie movies, horror movies in general probably needed that to happen to like really like kickstart a tired genre.
Yeah.
The running of the zombies, it's an indie film, like low budget, you know. It was everything that like a zombie film kind of needed to be at that point. I think in terms of impact, yeah, that, because I like, it's no secret that I love zombie movies. So that, I get why the classics exist and are classics, and I love them. But because I wasn't born in the 70s, like I watch Halloween now and it's not scary.
No.
But I like it. It's a well-crafted film, and I can see how it would have been scary in the 70s. But it's the same for those, like for Friday. To be fair, Nightmare on Elm Street still like stands up. Actually, I could probably take it all back and say Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because I watched that recently and it's still fucking terrifying. It was made in 1978. Like, it's fucking
grim.
Yeah. And it's still really fucking horrifying. It's just something about it gets you in the like something. It like finds something carnal in you that scares the fuck out of you.
Well, it's because like that could happen.
Yeah.
It's that thing. That's why Michael Myers is so good, because like that could happen.
Yeah.
But well, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre pretty much did happen. So it's
well,
just,
yeah.
So yeah.
Was it what? It wasn't Ed Gein? It was the other one, wasn't it?
No, I thought it wasn't Ed Gein that did all of like, he was the stuff with all of the skin. He was the one that made like chairs and books and lampshades and stuff.
Yeah, because there's nods to that in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
they make lampshades out of the skin and stuff.
And the mask.
And the mask, yeah.
Dawn of the Dead makes sense. I thought you might go zombie like.
That Dawn of the Dead film was fucking awesome. And but like again, I ain't seen it for a long time. I might watch it and think it's not that good now. But when it came out, I was like, this is like, it was like the 28 Days Later on steroids. It was like the studio gave it the budget. Obviously Snyder at the time wasn't doing like as much mad slow-mo stuff, but I like a lot of Zack Snyder's stuff. I think he's done some great films. But like 300 and The Watchmen are great films. But yeah, I just think it's just a really nice take on the genre, and it didn't feel like disrespectful to the original Dawn of the Dead. It felt like it kind of needed to happen for a zombie movie to, you know, to have like running zombies and be good and stuff. I like the idea. I really like the end where they think they've survived and they get on the boat and then they're all fucked. Yeah.
Because I watched the original Dawn of the Dead the other day. Well, I say watched. Tried to watch.
Yeah, I watched it not long ago, yeah.
Because it's like, it is a classic, and the things that I did to kind of create that genre, and like Romero's The One.
Yeah.
But it's like a fucking terrible film. Like, it's really badly made.
The
It's
makeup's like they're all blue.
It's like I've really got to be in a mood to watch this for what it is.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like,
watch the remake and be scared.
Yeah. Whereas now I'm like, this is just like it is a seminal piece of like pop culture art.
Yeah.
But in the same way that like some Picasso looks like someone's just had a fit with a pen on a paper kind of thing, it's like that.
Yeah.
I was like, I haven't got it in me to watch this because it's very good for what it did and its impact on everything.
Yeah.
But as 2 hours of cinema, like, I could do better with an iPhone.
Yeah, you could now. Yeah.
But
a bit of After Effects. Yeah. Have you seen the George Romero like documentary that he did on crazy people?
No.
So when he died, obviously like a load of stuff in his estate, like his family got hold of, and he basically shot. I think it was like he got technically his first ever film. He got commissioned to make. I'm sure it's an advert for like a mental asylum in England. So if you've got a crazy relative, you watch this 45-minute thing
and you want them to go there.
Yeah, and think, oh, my crazy Uncle Joe will get looked after at this place, right? But it's very George Romero. I don't think like they signed off on it in the end. They were just like, no, we can't put this out because it's George Romero filming loads of crazy people in England, and they're like, and it's in the 70s, so you, like Care in the 70s, I imagine.
Brutal.
Yeah, certainly wasn't what it is now, and now it's probably not great either. But like, yeah, and it's like a 45. I can't remember what it's called, but if anybody wants to watch it, just search George Romero like mental asylum or whatever, and it'll come up because there's been loads of obviously pieces about it. But yeah, it's meant to be fucking off it. I watched like. It's one of them where I've got it on my laptop and I was like, I've watched like 10 minutes of it, but like, you have to be in a really specific frame of mind to be like, oh, I'm going to watch this 45-minute piece about fucking crazy people in England, but with actual lunatics in a lunatic asylum.
It's like
Can you say the word lunatic?
Yeah.
Let's say
Yeah. I'm surely you can. Like, what other word are you going to use? Like,
yeah.
Like, nutter sounds slightly more disrespectful.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
But no, I'd imagine it's like very interesting, but also like that's like hard to watch, grim if it is people who are actually just like
super intense, especially if it like
when it comes down to it, they're suffering.
Yeah, if you have any family members that have suffered from dementia or anything like that, it's going to be a particularly
rough.
Yeah, particularly painful watch. But yeah, just seeing that through George Romero's eyes, I think would be interesting.
Very interesting as well to see, like, if he made that and if that impacted his take on the undead.
Yeah.
And some of their mannerisms and...
Yeah, exactly. I mean, from like a cinematic perspective, because there's things that he did in his films, like any director that puts out a lot of films, they tend to have a lot of similar things that they do, skills, you know, like moves in Jiu Jitsu, you know what I mean? They just have like certain shots that they use, certain actors that they like to use, certain sets, you know, like Wes Anderson and stuff. So I wanted to watch it to be like, is there stuff that he just does naturally that like lend itself, like, you know, trombone shots or whatever, that lend itself to the zombie films that he made or whatever. So yeah, I'll get around to watching it at some point, I'm sure. But yeah, again, but also like, you know, getting from work, sit with a lot in it.
Like, yeah, like you don't really want to watch that.
to watch this 45-minute. I mean, I think she's used to it by now. She just basically switches off when I'm like, oh, I'm going to put this film on. She's like, right, cool, go to bed.
What's it about? Well...
So, yeah, I basically, I go, George Romero, who's this zombie? She goes, yeah, I'm out. I'll do some plant lessons or something.
Yeah, that's mad.
Yeah.
Such a strange thing as well. Like, imagine your agent coming to you and being like, George, got a bit of work for you.
Yeah, like how does that get commissioned? I don't know, but I've had some weird stuff commissioned to me. Not as weird as that, but like the mechanisms of, I know a guy who's got a camera. Yeah, George will do it, and then what a way could you do? What's your favourite film of all time? If you've not seen that many horror movies.
So I do have a favourite horror movie. While we're on the topic,
let's do that.
But it's a controversial one because people might be like, it's not a horror movie.
All right.
Terminator is the greatest horror movie ever made. Because if you change Arnie in Terminator to a guy in a jumpsuit with a machete and a shatter mask,
yeah,
I think Terminator's filmed like a horror movie. Whereas Terminator 2 is when James Cameron goes all like, I'm making an action film now.
Yeah.
Which is it's what he did with Aliens. Like Aliens is,
it's a genre.
It sits in a different genre basically. But Terminator, don't at me.
No, I think you're probably right. It is pretty scary. But is it a horror? That's it. That's the subject for someone's dissertation, I reckon.
Put it in the comments. Is it a horror movie?
Yeah. Because it's a good film.
But favourite film? Back to the Future? Maybe?
Good shout.
Hey, what's your favourite film?
My favourite film? Goodfellas.
Yeah, that kind of makes mine seem like the choice of a toddler in comparison. Serbian film.
It was Fight Club, but that's dated a bit.
Yeah. Goodfellas is.
Yeah. Goodfellas is the one.
I think like Back to the Future is the one where like if it's on,
you're not turning it off.
Like I'm not doing anything until it's finished.
Yeah.
Kind of film.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Whereas like there's other films that like are phenomenal that I might, if they're on, I'm not going to be buzzing that they're on. Like even if I'm just flicking through the TV and it's like, Back to the Future's on, I'm watching that.
Yeah.
Whereas like even if I'm like, The Godfather's on, I might be like, it's long.
Yeah. You probably have to be in a certain mood to watch The Godfather.
So if that's favourite, what's the greatest film ever made?
Kill Bill Volume 1. In terms of like technical skill, like if we were talking great film, great execution, and the story, the story's pretty good. Kill Bill 1.
Okay.
What do you think? Don't say Avatar.
Does it what?
Avatar.
No, not Avatar. It's a difficult one that because there's a lot that are like phenomenal. But it's kind of what do you mean by great? Like, is it like what's the most technically great film ever made, or what's the greatest story?
Great gives this like you imagine like grandioseness, I think. So I'd probably be tempted to, I don't know, think of like Avengers Part 2 or whatever, like in terms of greatness. I don't know. It's tough to define, isn't it? For me, it's technical greatness, so I'm going to go for Kill Bill Volume 1.
I think Tarantino is definitely the greatest dialogue writer ever. Like, I couldn't think of anybody.
It's really dog hair on that lens the entire time. Sorry.
That wasn't a scar down the middle of my face. It's just Woody got in the way. But like, if the there's few people who could write scenes in English, French, and German flawlessly in the same film, and he pulled it off.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, the dialogue, it's written because that's how it would sound in French, or that's how it would sound in German.
Yeah.
So yeah, but greatest film ever. I might have asked a question that I don't have an answer to.
I think the greatest scene in a film ever is probably, well, there's two scenes in Inglourious Bastards. The first one is where the guy goes to the house and the Jews are hiding.
The opening scene of Inglourious Bastards is probably the greatest bit of cinema ever.
On par with when they are drinking in the basement and the whole Triglazer shootout thing. Like, in terms of like tension building through dialogue.
It's even the strudel scene. Just anything that Christoph Waltz is in that film is kind of like it's like an absolute acting masterclass. Like what you put on, it's like that's low that. It's the War Museum's there. So like that.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Are you bothered about the Avatar sequel?
Do I care what happens to the Na'vi? Absolutely not. Do I want to see what the man who's been obsessed with water since the Abyss can do with a 1080i and a 4K screen? Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see Avatar 2 just to see what James Cameron can do with 20 years of his life.
A spectacle, yeah. I feel like it was made like 15 years ago or something.
I think I read some mad thing about it, which at the time I was like, that's got to be absolute horse shit. But now it makes sense, where each individual blade of grass has been modelled in it. And I was like, how's that? Like, what hard drive can handle that much data where, like, each individual... Like, it's not procedurally generated, like someone's gone in and drawn each...
Fucking hell.
But if anybody's mad enough to do it, it's him.
Yeah.
But no, I don't particularly care about the story. Like, I'll go.
Yeah.
But... I'd rather really just, like, you know, remade Titanic with a bigger door at the end. Traffic.
Right, fuck this.
Yeah,
Thanks, everyone.
In a bit.